So when you learn to laugh with yourself about how crazy your mind is, because everybody's mind is crazy, and it's okay to be crazy, just laugh and have fun with it, all of a sudden it changes your perspective. It changes the way you see the world. And I started seeing more and more closely how the hindrances actually are a help. And they are a teacher. They're teaching you where you have an attachment. And insights started to come pretty fast and furious for a while. And I had a lot of insights on how and why hindrances arise. Why do hindrances arise? Because I broke a precept sometime in my life. Now, I said something that was wrong, I cursed, I gossiped, when I was very young, I used to go around and kill a lot of flies. And those kind of things come back at you. Okay, that causes a hindrance to arise. And looking very closely at what a hindrance actually is. A hindrance is a guilty feeling that you start taking personally. This is me, this is mine, this is who I am. And the only way to let go of that hindrance is to learn what craving is and how to let the craving go. And with that insight and intuition of relaxing the tightness in the head, I started realizing more and more that when you use that relaxed step with your meditation, your mind becomes clear, your mind becomes pure. There is no craving, there is no distraction. So you bring that back to your object of meditation. And your progress in the meditation is so fast. Now, I had 20 years of practice that wasn't this. And I worked real hard to get into jhana. But it was the kind of jhana that was one-pointed jhana. There are two different kinds of jhana. The kind of jhana I was practicing for the first 20 years of my practice. My mind was on the object of meditation. It got distracted. Now, what I was taught was to note it until it went away. In other words, keep my attention on that distraction and just say thinking, or sadness, or whatever it happened to be. And then when it went away, immediately I came back to the object of meditation. But with what I was learning, my mind was on the object of meditation. It got distracted. That's the same. I noticed the distraction. I didn't keep my attention on it. Okay, the distraction is there. Didn't make a big deal out of it in my mind. It doesn't matter what the story is, why it's there. Just let it be there by itself and relax and smile and come back to my object of meditation. Now, the first time when I just brought without the relaxed step, I was bringing craving back to my object of meditation. And the result of that is my mind became very one-pointed. And the force of the concentration suppressed the hindrances from coming up, which is great, no problem there. And you can have a lot of bliss, you can have a lot of really good feeling, and it's a nice state to be in. But when you come out, when you lose your concentration, you still have these hindrances that are there, and they're a little bit stronger because they've been pushed down by the concentration. And there's not much in the way of personality development. You don't soften your mind. You still, when you go in, you bring that hindrance and you bring that craving back to your object of meditation, you still have that craving. And then when you lose your concentration, that craving comes back up, just like it was always there. And it's a little bit stronger. So you have a tendency to not, you still do things, it's still nice while you're sitting, but there's no softening of your personality. There's still a little hardness there. So when I started investigating this relaxed step and what it was, and I started recognizing more and more about it, I started seeing that my mind, one, it had more equanimity all the time. What used to make me very angry, now it might have some anger come up, but it's not as much. And you see it more quickly, and you let go of it more easily. So I started noticing, okay, this is some personality development. What happens if I keep going with this? And I did. And I saw a definite difference in my perspective of the world. The things that used to make me angry, they don't bother me. My mind is more with this equanimity. So it's easier to let go. And as a result, you wind up having more fun. Everything in life starts to be nice. You don't have that critical mind, that I don't like it mind. There's still some things that come up that you're not going to have just a level playing field. You're going to go through some stuff. But it's not going to be the roller coaster ride of I like it, oh, this is great, oh, I hate that. And you do that all day. But when you start doing this kind of mindfulness, this kind of meditation that has that relaxed step in, the drastic ups and downs, they stop getting so bad. And before long, it's just like waves. You still have your dukkhas in life, but you see them more quickly, you let go of them more quickly. And you start realizing that you can't blame anybody else for your pain, because you cause your own pain. Well, this person came up to me and they said this and they were really nasty and I hate that person. Who hates him? I do. Who's causing themselves pain? By having those repeat thoughts over and over again, just like it was on a tape deck. Who's doing that to themselves? I am. So when you use the 6 R's, when you use that relaxed step, you become more aware of that. And I told you a little while ago, I want you to smile, I want you to laugh. Why do I want you to laugh? If you have a big hindrance, and it's really a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness, if you laugh with yourself about how crazy your mind can be, all of a sudden, you let it go. You're not crazy anymore. You're not caught up in having that repeat thought over and over again. You start to see that your mind is more at ease. You go from, I'm mad, I don't like it, and you laugh with yourself for getting caught, then it changes to, well, it's only anger. Do I want this? Am I going to walk around with this for the rest of the day? No, I'm going to let that go. So when you learn to laugh with yourself about how crazy your mind is, because everybody's mind is crazy, and it's okay to be crazy, just laugh and have fun with it, all of a sudden it changes your perspective. It changes the way you see the world. And there's major changes that happen with that. And life starts to be more fun. You know, you have a relationship with somebody and you think of them and they say, well, they're always that way. They're always that way because you have an attachment and you expect them to act that way if I say this. Right? But when you start seeing that you can just let that go, you can let that annoyance that happens every time they do this or that, and relax into it, don't take it personally, you're going to see your relationship change. And everything gets easier and more fun. See, the thing is, life is not supposed to be hard. There's times it is, yeah. But that doesn't mean it always has to be hard. Right? As you start changing your perspective, as you start changing the way you see things around you, without having that anger and taking it personally, then you start seeing a lot more things that are clearer. Your mind is brighter. Your mind has more happiness arising in it all the time. We cause our own suffering. It's really true. I can tell you exactly how depression works. You want to not have depression anymore? Okay. It's a painful feeling. I don't like that painful feeling. I want it to stop. I want it to go away. Why does that have to bother me now? Every thought like that, all of your opinions, all of your ideas, all of your stories will start to come out, and then you have your habitual tendency. And your habitual tendency is your emotion. And what happens is you try to think the feeling away. And the more you try to control the feeling with your thoughts, the bigger and more intense that feeling becomes. And then you get into the poor me's and all of this kind of stuff. But that's all because you're trying to control a feeling. Now, painful feeling comes up. Did you ask that feeling to come up? Did you say, you know, I haven't had a painful feeling for a long time. I might as well have one now. No. It comes up by itself because of past actions. What you do with what arises in the present dictates what happens in the future. This is karma. If you fight with what's happening right now, if you try to change what's happening right now, if you try to make what's happening right now different, you're fighting with the truth. The truth is, when that painful feeling arises, it's there. And it's okay for it to be there. It has to be okay, because it's there. That's the truth. So what are you going to do with that truth? You're going to fight with it? Make it bigger, more intense? Or you can recognize it as a hindrance. Let it be, relax, smile, come back to your object of meditation. When you have depression, what's your best object of meditation? Who needs loving kindness more than anybody in the world at that time? Yourself. Send some love to yourself. Put love into that pain. See, that's one of the secrets that very few people really understand. And that is, when you have pain, it's either physical or mental. What your mind and body is telling you is, I need some love right there. It's pretty simple. The trick is to remember. Now, when I was in Asia, I was walking around barefoot quite a bit. And I would stub my toe, break a toe, kick a rock, kick a root, whatever. And I got pretty familiar with seeing how pain really arises. First thing that comes up is, ow, that hurts, pain. Next thing, I don't like that pain. I hate that when it happens. Then I start recognizing, so then I start sending loving kindness down into the toe where it hurts. After 4 or 5 minutes, the pain goes away. Might come back, because it's a broken toe. But I did go to the doctor about that. Take an x-ray. Yeah, you got a broken toe. So what are we going to do about it, Doc? How about if we get a bow and put on your toes so you don't do that again? There's nothing they can do for broken toes. They have to heal on their own. So, when I was walking, pain would come up in my foot, I send loving kindness down there. Before long, I forget. Go about doing what I was doing until it hurts again, then put some more. Sometimes going upstairs was hard. That's fine. Just stay with the loving kindness, and 3 or 4 days, you forget about it. They're not even there anymore. Now this is something that your body is telling you right straight away, don't hate this. If you hate it, it's really going to hurt. Now this is a scientific fact. You have a pineal gland. It's right in between the two lobes of the brain. That's where the endorphins are stored. Endorphins are natural painkiller for the body, about 10 times stronger than morphine. If you hate that feeling, you go around and you're cursing, and I hate this when it happens. It stops the endorphins from being released into the body. So it makes the pain even worse. But when you start sending loving kindness in it, that opens up all the blood vessels, and then the endorphins come, and before long, there's no pain. So every time pain arises, if you get involved in it, I don't care if it's emotional pain or physical pain. Pain is pain. It's either pleasant or painful, or neither painful nor pleasant. What are you going to do with it? That's the question. You can fight with it, you can dislike it, you can get involved with it, you can have your repeat thoughts about it and cause yourself immeasurable suffering. Or not. Your choice. You start sending loving kindness into that pain, into that pain, into that sadness, into that anxiety, into that fear, into that dislike. You start sending loving and kind thoughts into that, all of a sudden it's not so bad anymore. You'll stop having the repeat thoughts. You'll start learning more, and you are teaching yourself how this works. How this mind and body actually does work. And as you teach yourself and you start going more deep into your understanding, you start having all kinds of insights into how you cause your own pain. Everybody's different, and everybody's the same at the same time. I used to love to drive the Chinese in Malaysia. They have a lot of pride. They're different than anybody else. And I used to love to drive them crazy because I would say, your brain works exactly like my brain. There's no difference between an Eastern thought and the Western. There's no difference. It all works in the same way. You have a feeling arise, I like it or I don't like it. I think about it or I don't think about it. But it always, this process works the same for every human being. It really gets interesting. It really gets fun. One of the things that I try to encourage people, especially when they're on retreat, is to make a game of it. Don't get serious with it. Laugh with it. It's a lot more fun to laugh than it is to growl, right? It's more fun to have an uplifted mind than a mind that's walking around angry all the time. Look at how it hurts your body. how it helps your body when you start having fun with it. You start doing things that you really like to do. How well do you do them? Pretty good, right? Why? Because you have fun doing it. Well, change that perspective so you have fun with everything. I don't care if it's cleaning the toilets or washing dishes. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's your perspective of how you're doing it with your mind. I hate doing this. Okay. Guess what? You're not going to do a good job on it. And you're not very efficient with it. The more you have an uplifted mind, the more efficient you become with everything that you do. You don't have that mind that's thinking about something else while you're doing this. You tend to just stay with this. You get that done? Okay, now let's do that. I have students that they're really into their computers and that's what their job is, and they tell me, well, I have to think. Okay, there's nothing wrong with thinking. But, can you smile while you're thinking? Can you have fun instead of get frustrated? It's your choice. Same coin, different sides. You choose whether you're going to have fun with it or not. See, the thing with this kind of meditation that I'm showing you is it's not just about sitting. It's not just about being very quiet. Yeah, there is some of that. You need to do that. You need your quiet time because you go in deeper when you have that quiet time. But it's also what you're doing with your daily activities. I wrote a book called Life is Meditation, Meditation is Life. There's no difference. Too many times people have the idea, I'm going to meditate. And that's all they, the rest of their life, what do? They're running around just like they always did. Okay, when you're sitting, you're going to have a hindrance arise, right? Do hindrances arise in your daily activities? Kinda. Well, the advantage of doing this kind of meditation is that you'll be able to recognize the hindrances more quickly and let them go more easily. And it's just those 6 steps. Recognize when your mind is distracted. Release the distraction. Don't make a big deal out of whatever pulls your attention away. Let it be there by itself. It's not yours anyway. You didn't ask it to come up, did you? So why take it personally? Let it be there by itself. Relax that tightness caused by that distraction. Smile. Bring that smiling mind back to your object of meditation. Stay with your object of meditation as long as you can. That's for the sitting. Every time you use the 6 R's, every time you use right effort, you are practicing the entire Eightfold Path at that time. Every time you smile, you're practicing the entire Eightfold Path at that time. So when you come and do a retreat, what am I going to tell you to do a lot of? Smile. And watch what it does for your mind. Watch how how much more clear your mind becomes. And start playing with things. Don't take things seriously. They're not yours anyway. You didn't ask them to come up. They came up by themselves. And you can let them go. Don't get involved with them. Yeah, but I don't like that. Okay, so you don't like it. Who cares? You do. Well, good. That means you got an attachment and you get to have a lot of pain. Is that what you want? Your choice. See, I'm not a teacher. I'm a guide. I'll keep you on the path. Just hang out with me for a retreat. You'll be surprised how fast your progress becomes. Well, I've been talking for a long time. Do you have any questions?
When you're talking about your stubbed toe and how you feel the pain, and the way you would resolve it is by sending loving kindness to it, how? How would you send loving kindness to that toe?
I bring up a thought of loving kindness and I point my mind to it.
Do you say, please do not harm to?
No, I'm not begging with the pain.
No.
I'm not trying to control the pain. I'm just sending love where the pain is. It's, how did I just say? How did I tell you to do it?
Direct the mind to the
It's real easy to put your attention on something that hurts, isn't it? Well, you can put that attention with love or with hatred. What do you want to do? Do you want to fight with that pain and make it bigger and more intense, or do you want to love that pain?
Bhante, I think a lot of the audience are new to meditation, and especially loving kindness meditation. So I think the question is more like, if I understand correctly, how to generate a feeling of love.
Well, it's easier than you're trying to make it. It's a lot easier. You're trying to make it complicated. You know, you cut your finger. Do you know where there's pain? Do you have to look at it to see if the pain is there?
I see it's bleeding.
Well, maybe. But do you have to look? You know where the pain is. You know it's not on the bottom of your foot, right? It's on your finger. Okay, you already know where it is. Love it.
Can I try something?
Sorry, I haven't done it before, so I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no. This is logical.
Yes.
Okay, you're trying to make it difficult, and you don't need to make it difficult.
I never say love to the finger.
So it's time to...
No, but you've sent a lot of pain to your fingers, haven't you? You've sent a lot of dislike when you did something.
Yes.
Well, don't make it dislike. Put love there instead.
Yes. Do not reject it.
Don't
Accept
reject it. Accept it, of course. See, the thing that's really weird is, and this is a complaint that the Buddha had all the time. It's too simple. People would come with all of these naughty questions, and they'd ask him the question, and he would give them a real simple answer. And it would stun them. They would just go, oh, that's way too simple. I understand it now. So don't make it complicated. Don't think that it has to be complicated. It doesn't. Smile. Take that smile, put it right in the middle of that finger.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
It's too simple.
I've got a similar question, but it's more when you actually, rather than your body being in pain, your mind is actually distressed. Like you're on a panic mode or something is very hard to control it. Would that be very similar? Or?
I had a woman that she was prone to panic attacks. I was giving a talk and she was sitting in the middle of the audience, so she couldn't get up and run away like she always did with a panic attack.
It's in the middle of 60 people.
She was breaking out in a sweat and she was really suffering a lot. And I was talking about how you practice, recognize and let it be, and relax and smile, and wish some happiness to someone. So she started thinking, if this monk is telling me something that's real, then I ought to be able to take care of this. So the pain was there, it was real. She was sweating all over the place. She let the pain be there without keeping her attention on it. She relaxed and smiled and wished herself happiness. In 2 minutes, the panic attack went away. Now, every time before she started practicing with me, she would get a panic attack for 3 days. She would go into her room, she'd break out in a sweat, she really suffered a lot. One of the things that the Buddha said that I liked very much, he said, when you practice the Dhamma, it is immediately effective. And it is. As soon as you recognize you have a distraction, I don't care if it's a mental distraction or physical. Don't keep your attention on it. Let it be there by itself. Relax. Put some smile into it. And wish yourself happiness. Oh, but my mind's going back to it. Okay, do it again. It doesn't matter how many times you do that. I have students that have PTSD. They've been in Afghanistan, they've been in Iraq. They've done some things that are very, very bad. And they feel extreme guilt. And it's hard to let that go. But by doing this and some other things of forgiveness and this kind of thing, they get rid of it in a short period of time. It's not that they won't have these memories. They'll know what they did. But they let go of the intense guilty feeling, the intense dislike of the situation. They will let go of the pain. It just takes some practice.
Can I just ask
Of course.
a question about when you were doing a retreat in the cave and you had the suttas and you were going through that and you were looking at the Satipatthana Sutta, for example, did you go through the whole thing step by step?
You bet.
Yeah, it just seems there's so much in that and it would take so long to do all the when, like you trains like this and trains like that. Or did you just stay with the body, the breath as your object, or you It seems
Look,
like
the thing with the Satipatthana Sutta is that you have body, feeling, consciousness, and body and mind objects.
Yep.
Okay, these are happening all the time. You don't just take one. Well, you can't have a feeling arise if you don't have a body, right? And you're not going to have that feeling be a distraction if you're not conscious of it. And that's what the mind objects are.
So it's just whatever is arising.
Right. It's learning how to recognize. That's what it really all comes down to. How to recognize.
Yeah, it just seems like it confuses me because there's so much going on, like, you know, it's saying like he trains by...
Well, I'll tell you, the insights that he put in, they are from a commentary.
They're not part of the sutta.
They're not part of the sutta.
Right.
I've threatened to write the insights so that they actually make more sense.
Thanks.
Don't you think it's kind of problematic? We've had this discussion about the Satipatthana because I had a student who came to me and said, well, everything you just said in this class is wonderful, but all we need is Satipatthana. And he walked away. He was a senior monk. I was a, novice nun, and now could I grab him and pull him back? I was having enough trouble teaching a class of Teras and Mahateras when I was teaching this class, Anyway, what occurs to me is that the most important part of Satipatthana that's interesting for us is the last page. You can go all the way through to Anagami or Arahat is the claim if you follow these instructions. And it occurred to me that if people were following the instructions and we had them figured out correctly and you could follow them, that would be happening. It just occurred to me. So where would I go from there is possibly, just possibly, we might not have them clearly understood in parts. So when Bhante teaches Satipatthana in a retreat, he's taking little pieces and refining the meaning a little bit, retuning what the meaning is. Like body, feeling, mind, and dhammas, when a monk sits down and you say, what are you practicing? I'm practicing feeling. It's impossible. You can't be practicing just feeling as an object. It's impossible. So if somebody said to do that, that's impossible. And we explain to you why that's impossible, because of what the text is teaching. But so these four pieces are actually happening all the time, you see? And then it's very interesting to hear him teach Satipatthana, sort it out, then watch what happens with the students. Everybody gets excited at the end of the sutta when you hear the last page, because you're pretty set on this is probably possible to go deeper and see deeper as a result of it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I read some of Bhante's writings about when he was talking, like when the sutta says you've got to be mindful of sitting or standing, and he was saying he used to note sitting, standing.
Yeah.
Like
what good is that?
Like,
it's like, I don't know when I'm sitting down. Well, yeah. Do I make a big deal out of it? No. Do I know when I'm standing up and walking? Well, tell me somebody that doesn't.
And even listening to him teach, I got very frustrated when I went to Sri Lanka. I went to the Pali teachers and I said, there's something I want to do here. I want you to take me through the sutta with the Pali. I want to see what you're really saying it says. And they're saying what he's telling you it's saying. That you just understand your breathing. And this got so serious once in a retreat recently. There was two women, came into an interview, and they said to him in the interview, how he says, how's it going? And they described it, and then the woman said, well, yes, I'm practicing, but I'm afraid if I do it that way, I won't be able to breathe. And it actually hit me that this woman had been practicing so hard on the breath. She had taught her brain to believe if she didn't concentrate on her breath, she would not breathe. And I said to her, when you were young and you went out and played with the kids, did you breathe? And she said, well, of course, we ran around and played tag. Did you breathe? Sure, I breathed. Did you make yourself breathe? No, we ran around and played, didn't you? And so we've changed something to make it more serious than it needed to be.
The thing is, it comes back to the different kinds of jhana that are being experienced.
Mm.
Because there is a very strong belief that when you get to the fourth jhana, you don't breathe. Okay?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen the way that I teach, but that's what they claim. And it scares people.
Yes.
Well, if I can't breathe, how am I going to live? Your body can figure out how to do it, don't worry. But the thing is, that's the difference between the one-pointed concentration, where your mind gets really, really focused on one thing, and what I'm teaching is opening up and being aware. And it all comes back down to that relaxed step.
So you say if my object of meditation is the breathing, so say when I do the practice, do I supposed to observe just the breathing in and out and that's it? And also aware of what is surrounding? Or?
You weren't here for the first part of the talk, were you?
Yeah, I thought
I
you
came
said,
late.
Oh, okay.
but you started it.
The instructions say on the in-breath you relax the bodily formation, tightness in your head. On the out-breath you relax the bodily formation. You use the breath as the reminder to let go of craving. That's different than just focusing on the breath. But I would rather you did loving kindness meditation. It's a lot easier. Your progress is much faster. And you can carry loving and kind thoughts with you during the day.
Yes.
So you get to do it a lot more. The mindfulness of breathing, well, then I have a hindrance arise. What am I supposed to do? Stop what I'm doing and use the 6 R's and watch my breath a couple times and then come back to what I was doing? That's not practical.
That's how I'm thinking.
Well,
I was wrong.
It gets confusing.
it gets real hard and confusing.
That's why I'm not improved.
Probably.
When I started with Bhante, I didn't believe that mentally I could do anything with my body. When he taught Namarupa and the fact that the Buddha was figuring out a connection between mind and body. So if we accept the first verses in the Dhammapada, mind is the forerunner of all states. Mind meaning are they. He tells you that. Good, wholesome, unwholesome ones. But everything starts. Then you say to yourself, what is a state? A state of the body, a state of the mind. Then he talks in a teaching about a connection between mind and body. Now what he said a moment ago begins to make sense. She hurts her foot. How does she mentally help her body? That's her problem. She's thinking mentally is here, body is there. But the Buddha is not saying the body is from here to there. In his entire teaching in the text, the body, when he mentions it, is the formation, bodily formation, is always from the top of his head in his lectures to Ananda and the monks to the tip of his toes. Interesting. And so you wish your body, now in science, if you hurt your leg, they'll give you a practice with a broken leg in the hospital. Now I'll show you an anatomy book and tell you to think about your leg already being healed. Visualize this in naturopathic medicine and visualize the body healing, and that you can actually believe the body can, people can actually do that kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, when you put your attention where the pain is, you have better circulation there.
It starts, you can record all this happening on the equipment.
Okay, with the better circulation, that is the allowing for the endorphins to get to that spot, and it takes the pain away. You know, people do a lot of running, and they say, oh, I got really high from the running. That's because the endorphins, they're having fun. And the endorphins are coming out into the body and making them feel great. It's all interconnected.
So,
they have the concentration, they don't have the fun.
I don't know about you, I used to have a lot of fun running back in the old days.
Because when you run, you really have to concentrate, and then that's why the endorphin release all at once.
actually, the endorphins don't
Does
get...
that mean that when you're concentrating you can't have fun?
No.
No?
When you concentrate, you don't have fun, I don't.
You don't have fun when you're concentrating.
I don't think so.
It's tight. You don't have fun when you concentrate because your head gets tight. Yeah. But if you say you concentrate to run, so the endorphins, that's not how it works. I used to run a lot, okay? And when if you're concentrating on how you're running and rolling your foot and things when you start running at long distance, 12, 14 miles like that, okay? But then when you get into the flow, when you go into flow, this is Shitchitsanitsan's book, okay? And when you get into flow, that's where you're relaxing your mind and you're running and you're totally in flow with bicycling or running, okay? And that's when this is happening like he's describing. Then the brain relaxes into what you're doing. And then the endorphins can come out actually while you're cycling or while you're running. It can happen. And the other kicker with running is once you finish running, the glycogen pours in and you get that extra, you know, you're not hungry, you think you're going back to eat, and you're not hungry after the shower, and you have all this energy and let's go for the whole day. That's the glycogen kick that comes in. So the endorphins are no pain in the body while you're running. You can start out all, you know, you warm up, but there's no pain when you're running.
And I'm sorry, it is fun.
It's really fun. Concentrating is fun.
Well, it depends on the kind of concentration
Right.
you're doing.
Refined, balanced.
You're talking about working running, and I'm talking about playing running.
You know, when I'm having stress, and then I'm working all day, and by the end of the day I go to the gym, and then I start to feel calmer because I think when I do start in the gym, when I do exercise in the gym, like I have to concentrate to use the equipment and everything, and then somehow my mind calmer, and then I feel I'm not having fun when I'm doing the exercising, but somehow I can concentrate more on what I was doing in the gym.
Then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Go to the gym tomorrow, do exactly what you always work out. I worked out really hard for 2 years to train for a big ride once. And start smiling. You know, smile a lot when you're warming up. Just smile naturally. When you get on the equipment, you smile. And you know what? You're going to go further on the cycles, further on the steps, further on the lifting, deeper.
And your mind is going to be uplifted, and that's a form of being happy.
You got to be happy while you're doing it and smiling into it and opening your mind to it. And you're going to find a big difference. We take people who are teaching yoga for years, and they can't go except to a certain level on a position. We don't teach it, but we show them how to do it. And then if you are smiling and relaxing into it and using this process when you're doing yoga and taking a position in a series of positions, All of a sudden, I remember I saw Kelly do it. She dropped in almost 3 inches deeper. All of a sudden, she dropped down, and her leg went right up. And she had no problem. She never did it before. Why? Because she let go. And it has to do with the flow that Shishin taught in the sports thing, the Russian author. It has to do with the medical part of that whole thing with the brain opening. And he's talking about the same thing. Yeah.
So isn't that the same thing when you're a really good musician and say you're playing the violin? I mean, you'd be very, very, very concentrated, but you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably very similar.
Actually, you actually wind up playing better.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because you're doing, in music is the technique, training is tense. You know, it's like take piano and Schumann and all the books of Schumann you have to go through for all this stuff first, right? This is all very tense. And the teacher's there, you know, and then you go out and you start going into the books and start doing things. It's vocally the same thing with vocal training, okay? And then all of a sudden you're free.
That's right.
And everything opens. That's right. Yeah. With instruments, everything.
And artists, if they start smiling and having fun while they're doing their art, it comes out so much better. Colors get more vibrant.
He taught an artist from Caracas, Venezuela, Bogota, Colombia. And he came, Carlos, but I can't remember his last name. And he paints very, very big canvases, okay, very large canvases.
And he's very famous.
Very famous as a modern artist. He takes trash, junk from machines, parts of machines, creates these marvelous paintings. And now in his country, an oppressed, dictatorial, oppressive society, really suffering, everything is yellows, browns, beiges, maybe grays, and it's that color. It's not because it's earthy, because it's oppressed. He comes up to California to his studio and all of a sudden explodes in greens and blues and gorgeous colors of the sunset in the paintings. So he came to us, and what happened was the shapes of what he did shifted after he practiced with Bhante with a couple of retreats. He was there a month, you know, and then when he went, he sent pictures, and the difference in the art shifted. It was something I wanted to know about it, and I followed it. So the difference in the approach, just from his mind changing and his heart opening and feeling safer about opening his heart, changed the shape and the colors of everything. This really happens. Beautiful.
The more you smile, the better everything becomes.
Can I ask you a question? You said
Can you smile first?
Okay. When I should change my practice of meditation on the breathing back to the loving kindness.
Let it go and just do loving kindness for a while.
So that means when at home straight away I do the loving kindness.
Yes.
Forget about the breathing because
Right.
I've been taught, about the breathing.
Oh, I understand.
Follow the breathing in, out, long, short, that kind of thing.
And if you were to come and do the breathing meditation with me, it would take me about 6 weeks of hard work to get you to stop doing it that way.
So I just have to let go and just
let go and just do the loving kindness.
Don't throw it away. Put it in a shoebox in your mind and put it away until later.
If I do at home, who do I send to all the people?
No.
To my mother, my
One
friend.
person. Remember how we showed you how to practice? We gave you all the instructions. Come back this weekend. We're going to do it again right here, and we'll give you all the instructions again. One person until they respond. Then you try to do the other people.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. You have to walk before you can run.
Oh, so might as well put a plug in for this Saturday. We are having a non-residential retreat here at the Metta Centre from 10 to 5, Saturday and Sunday.
Sunday as well.
Both days.
See how lucky you are?
Yeah, double. Double. See?
Now, I wanted to also tell you that we give retreats online.
Online retreats.
Online retreat.
We give you the instructions, we talk to you every day. We have a Dhamma talk every day, you practice sitting every day, and you practice smiling the whole time.
On computer. It's not you see us doing it to you. It's not like that. Okay, you have a list of Dhamma talks for each day that you go and listen to.
Yes.
You write a report once a day with 5 questions. We write you back that once a day the answers, just like you would answering the same questions at a retreat.
Yes.
So you're guided through, and you keep we give you the 6 little precepts, the 6 precepts.
So you can still go to work and
Normally.
do a retreat.
It's not a seclusion thing.